Your next roaster coming up tonight is really the only black person on the dance. And only because affirmative action is still in play. We got an Indian, we got a black guy, our Asian canceled, so we had to go with him. Give it up for Miles, ladies and gentlemen. Miles.
Alright, so I've known this known David S. Lewis character for the better part of a decade now. And actually, I want to jump on to the thread of David's Spider-Man like kind of activities. I met David like 2000, 2003, 2004. We were both struggling, kind of Hunter S. Thompson-esque journalists. Although I have to say, David's blown me out of the water. I think partially between not really being able to write record reviews, which is the only thing I wanted to do at a fucking newspaper, and then watching David S. Lewis in action, I basically just quit being a journalist. I was like, fuck it, this guy has got me covered in what I was thinking about doing. So, you know, I meet him, and then I'm so like, hey, so what do you do? And he's like, I write for papers. I'm like, I write for papers. What do you write about? And he's like, you know, like, I break into nuclear power plants, and like, you know, to see if they're secure or not. Because, you know, if I could get in, then like, who the fuck else is walking around through here? You know? And he just goes into like insane detail about getting to these intimate corners of nuclear power plants and like how this isn't up to code. And they're just like letting people like walk through this area where there should be men with guns. Like, you know, and you're like, what the fuck? And like, how do you get away with this? How do you get away with this? What the hell? And he gave me, there are 2 rules that I have really adhered since turning 18 and moving out of my parents' house. The first one I learned from Ice-T. I went to see Ice-T give a speech. This is, I was still in college. It was like maybe 1999. I think Clinton was still president. And he says, people, I'm here right now because I live by one rule. And that is never turn down a free bedroom in New York City. Ice-T is so wise. If you don't live by that, then you're just ruining your own life. And the second rule I picked up from David S. Lewis when I was still an impressionable 20-something. And it is, you know, if you're going to do something dangerous and you don't have a lawyer, you're going to get the book thrown at you. But if you have a lawyer, no one's even going to see you. And, you know, he has just time and time again just been like, oh, I forgot to call Bob, I'm in jail now. And it's actually, so the other really great thing, and they haven't happened so much since he has been at 614, but the good-fashioned, old-fashioned David S. Lewis, hey, I'm in the hell, I need some help letter. The email's really beautiful. I got one, I think, around like 2005, 2006. He had driven off in town with these wonderful, like, leather chaps he had worn all summer, and he had this amazing motorcycle, and he was just like, you know, blazing down the highway down to some sweet newspaper job he got in Texas. And he's just like looking like fuck shit, like Charles Bronson, and, you know, going down and getting ready to, like, you know, give some truth to fucking America, you know, in George Bush country, you know, so it's gonna be great, right? Evidently it must have been beautiful, because like 4 or 5 months go by, and nothing, you know, I don't hear from Dave, anyone see Dave, you know, maybe someone saw Dave or like read an article or something. Well, 4 or 5 months go by pretty silently, and then there's this beautiful email that shows up in my inbox one morning. It's kind of like, hello friends. You may be aware that for the past 4 or 5 months, I have been an editor in Texas blah 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 newspaper, very illustrious. You can look back to articles, so blah blah blah, and the investigation of the what, you know. A very interesting thing that happened this morning. I was walking into work, and it's kind of, you know, night before, yeah, cool. So I get into the office, and I get ready to sit down in my chair when I just hear pants rip. And, you know, I mean, this is another thing. David S. Lewis and I are pretty, actually, you know what, I actually changed my ways. It was winter, and it was just really fucking cold this year, so I bought a whole, like 12 boxer briefs. But I'm usually kind of a commando dude. It's just less laundry. David S. Lewis is also very much in that camp. I'm not wearing the underwear, but it's fucking cold, so, you know, I want this over for my boys. But, you know, he's not wearing underwear. His pants have ripped. His ass is now a gate wide in this illustrious Texas newspaper office. It's It's going over so well as the next two paragraphs of Blair go into describe. And then somewhere in the nervousness and chaos and just women screaming and blood and glass shattering, there were some feces that went about the area. And so I'll be back in town soon, and if anyone knows of a good place of employment, I would be highly interested. David S. Lewis.
Miles, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only person I know for sure that can come up tonight and do a 6-minute rant involving only one syllable and no vowels. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. I didn't hear one anecdote at all. It was like, that should have all been called Down the Rabbit Hole by Mike. I should point out there was supposed to be a guy here named Bill Arendale, and I'll mention him because he's a very good guy, he's a very good friend of all of ours, and because I had a very good joke about him. He's 400 pounds. One time I fell and tripped into him, and then any observer that would have watched that would have seen me fall in an infinitely slower fashion until I eventually stayed it out, and then I would have landed in the past. That's a black gold joke. That's what happened there.